The stars looked peaceful that day. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship, the Terra's Pride, watching the endless space through the big window. His crew was doing their normal patrol work near the edge of known space. Everything seemed quiet and safe. Jake had been a ship captain for 10 years. He was 42 years old with gray hair starting to show at his temples. His crew trusted him because he always made smart choices. Today felt like any other day of routine. Patrol work. Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez sat at her station listening to the radio signals from space. She was 28 years old and the best communications officer in the human fleet. Her job was to catch any strange signals or messages that might be important. "Captain," Amy said suddenly. Her voice sounded worried. "I'm getting something weird here." Jake walked over to her station. "What kind of weird?" "It's a distress signal, sir, but it's not from any human ship. The language is completely different. I've never heard anything like it." Jake felt his heart beat faster. Humans had only been traveling in deep space for about 50 years. They knew other alien species existed, but contact was still rare and exciting. "Can you translate it?" Jake asked. Amy's fingers moved quickly over her controls. The ship's computer had a universal translator that could figure out most alien languages. It would take a few minutes to work. "I'm trying, sir. The computer is working on it now." While they waited, Jake called his other officers to the bridge. Commander Rick Turner from the battleship New York's Fury joined them through video call. Colonel Danny Ward from the assault ship Dakota's Hammer also connected. "Gentlemen," Jake said, "we might have our first real alien contact situation." The computer finished its work. Amy looked up with wide eyes. "Captain, you need to hear this." She played the translated message. A voice, sounding scared and desperate, filled the bridge. "This is Elder Vextai of the Zephyrian colony New Haven. We are under attack. The Krex Empire has invaded our world. They are killing our people and taking survivors as slaves. We have no weapons to fight them. We have no ships to escape. If anyone can hear this message, please help us. We are a peaceful people. We never hurt anyone. But the Krex will destroy us all in 3 days. Please, if there is anyone out there, with the power to help, we are begging you. This may be our last message." The bridge went completely quiet. Jake felt sick to his stomach. Somewhere out there, innocent people were dying, and they were asking for help. "How far away are they?" Jake asked. Amy checked her instruments. "About 6 hours at maximum speed, sir," Jake thought quickly. He needed to contact Earth Command right away. This was too big for him to decide alone. "Amy, get me Admiral Pete Johnson." "At Earth Command. Emergency priority." "Yes, sir." While Amy made the connection, Jake studied the star charts. The Zephyrian system was at the very edge of human territory. Technically, it was not their responsibility. But Jake had joined the space fleet to help people, not to ignore them when they needed help most. Admiral Johnson appeared on the main screen. He was an older man with completely white hair and serious eyes. He had been leading the human fleet for 20 years. "Captain Morrison, what's the emergency?" Jake quickly explained about the distress signal. He played the translated message. "For the Admiral." Johnson listened carefully, his face getting more serious. "Admiral," Jake said when the message ended, "we have 3 ships in this area. We could reach them in 6 hours. Captain, we don't know anything about this Krex Empire. They might have hundreds of ships. We could be flying into a trap." "Yes, sir. But if we do nothing, an entire species dies." Johnson was quiet for a long moment. Jake could see him thinking hard about the decision. Starting a fight with an unknown alien empire could be dangerous for all of humanity. Finally, Johnson spoke. "Captain, I'm going to talk to General Lisa Parker. She makes the final decisions about military action. Stay ready to move, but don't do anything yet." "Understood, sir." The connection ended. Jake paced around the bridge, feeling frustrated. Every minute they waited, more innocent people were probably dying. Amy was still listening to space signals. "Captain," she said, "I'm picking up more messages from the same system. They're getting weaker." "What are they saying?" "The Krex are moving faster than expected. They're destroying whole cities now. The Zephyrians are running out of places to hide. Jake clenched his fists. He had never felt so helpless. 20 minutes later, Admiral Johnson called back. This time, General Parker was with him. She was a tough-looking woman in her 50s, known for making hard decisions quickly. "Captain Morrison," General Parker said, "we've decided to help. You have permission to engage under Protection Protocol 7. Jake felt a wave of relief. "Thank you, General. But listen carefully, Captain. You're authorized to use whatever force is necessary to protect the Zephyrians. If this Krex Empire wants a fight, we'll give them one they won't forget." "Yes, ma'am. Your mission is simple. Get to that system. Stop the Krex from hurting innocent people. Show them that humanity doesn't let bullies win." Jake smiled for the first time that day. "We'll get it done, General." The call ended. Jake turned to his crew. "All hands, this is the captain. We're going to help some people who need us. Prepare for maximum speed to the Zephyrian system." The Terra's Pride turned toward distant stars, followed by its two sister ships. Somewhere ahead, people were dying and calling for help. They were about to learn that when humans hear a cry for help, they come running. The human ships dropped out of warp speed at the edge of the Zephyrian system. What they saw made everyone on the bridge go silent. 12 huge alien warships surrounded the planet New Haven. The ships were dark and covered with sharp spikes. They looked like they were built to scare people. Smaller fighter ships moved around them like angry insects. "My God," whispered Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez. She had never seen anything so frightening. Captain Jake Morrison stared at the scene through his ship's telescope. The planet below was burning in many places. He could see explosions as the alien ships destroyed buildings and cities. "Amy, try to contact those Zephyrians. See if any of them are still alive." "Yes, sir." Amy worked at her controls, sending signals toward the planet. Commander Rick Turner's voice came through the radio from his ship, the New York's Fury. "Jake, we're looking at 12 heavy cruisers and about 40 fighter craft. They outnumber us 4-1. "I can see that, Rick." Colonel Danny Ward joined the conversation from his ship, Dakota's Hammer. "My Marines are ready for ground action, but we need to know what we're fighting first." Jake nodded. "Kelly, what do you think about those ships?" Chief Tactical Officer Kelly Brooks was studying the enemy vessels on her instruments. She was 35 years old and had studied alien technology for most of her career. "Captain, those ships are interesting. They're huge and powerful, but look at how they're built. All those spikes and scary decorations, these ships are made to frighten people who can't fight back. I don't think they're designed for real ship-to-ship combat." "What do you mean?" "Sir, their weapons are all pointed down toward the planet. They're bombardment ships, not battle cruisers. They probably never expected anyone to fight back." Jake felt a little hope. Maybe the humans had a chance after all. Amy's voice interrupted his thoughts. "Captain, I'm getting a response from the planet. It's very weak. Put it through." A scared voice filled the bridge, speaking through the computer's translator. "This is Elder Vextai. Who are you? How did you find us?" "Elder Vextai, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the human fleet. We received your distress signal. We're here to help." There was a long pause. Then the voice came back, sounding amazed. "Humans? I have never heard of your species. You came all this way to help strangers?" "Yes, sir. That's what we do." "Captain Morrison, you must leave immediately. The Krex Empire is too strong. They have been conquering worlds for hundreds of years. They will destroy you too." Jake looked around his bridge at his crew. Everyone was listening carefully. "Elder Vextai, how many of your people are still alive?" "We have perhaps 50,000 hiding in underground bunkers. But the Krex are finding us. Their ground soldiers are hunting us down one by one. They take the young ones as slaves and kill everyone else." Kelly Brooks was still studying the enemy ships. She called Jake over to her station. "Captain, look at this. Those Krex ships are just sitting there. They're not even watching for enemies. They think they're completely safe." "They've probably never had anyone fight back before," Jake said. "Colonel," Ward's voice came through the radio. "Jake, my intelligence officer, Sergeant Claire Mitchell, has been watching their ground forces. She says they're using terror tactics, but they're poorly organized. They're just bullying civilians, not fighting real soldiers. Jake thought about everything he had learned. The Kreks were like the bullies he remembered from school. They were dangerous to weak people, but they had never faced someone willing to fight back. Elder Vextai, Jake said into the radio. We want to help you. Can you tell us about the Kreks ground forces? They have about 10,000 soldiers on our planet. They use energy weapons and flying machines. But Captain, they are very cruel. They enjoy hurting people who cannot defend themselves. Jake made his decision. Elder Vextai, I want you to gather your people in the deepest bunkers you have. In 1 hour, we're going to attack the Kreks. Things might get dangerous. Captain Morrison, you cannot win against so many ships. Maybe not, sir, but we're going to try. Humans don't like bullies. Jake ended the call and opened communications with his other ships. Rick, Danny, conference call in my ready room in 5 minutes. The 3 human commanders met through video connection. Jake explained what they had learned about the Kreks. So, Rick said, they're bullies who have never faced real opposition. That's right. Kelly thinks their ships are built for scaring people, not for fighting other warships. Danny nodded. And my people say their ground forces are just terror troops, they're not real soldiers. Jake looked at his friends. They had all grown up together in the Space Academy. They trusted each other completely. Gentlemen, I think we can do this, but it's going to be dangerous. Anyone who wants to leave can do so now. Rick laughed. Jake, we've been best friends for 20 years. We're not leaving now. Besides, Danny added, someone needs to teach these bullies a lesson. Jake smiled. This was why he loved his crew and his friends. When good people needed help, humans always stepped up. All right, here's the plan. We're going to hit them hard and fast. Rick, your ship has the biggest guns. You take on their main vessels. Danny, your Marines will go after their ground forces. I'll coordinate everything and provide support. What about the numbers? Rick asked. They still outnumber us 4-1. Kelly thinks they're not used to real fighting. We'll find out, if she's right. The 3 commanders ended their meeting. Jake returned to his bridge and opened communications to his entire crew. This is the captain. In 30 minutes, we're going into battle to protect innocent people. The enemy outnumbers us, but they've never faced humans before. They're about to learn something important about us. When we see people who need help, we don't count the odds. We just help. All stations prepare for combat. Around him, his crew began preparing for battle. Jake looked out at the enemy ships surrounding the burning planet. Elder Vextai, he said into the radio. Hold on. The humans are coming. The attack began at dawn on New Haven. Admiral Pete Johnson had given Captain Jake Morrison complete control of the operation through quantum radio. Jake felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. All ships, this is Morrison. Execute. Protection Protocol 7. Show them what humans do to bullies. Lieutenant Colonel Steve Adams led the first strike team. His job was to sneak onto the planet and destroy the Kreks communication systems. With him were Corporal Nina Walsh, an explosives expert, and Sergeant Ray Cooper, the best sniper in the human fleet. Their small ship landed quietly on the dark side of New Haven. The Kreks had not bothered to watch that area because they thought no one would dare to attack them. Nina, Ray, we have 30 minutes to reach the main communication tower, Steve whispered as they moved through the rocky terrain. Once we destroy it, the Krek ships won't be able to talk to each other. The 3 humans moved like shadows toward the Kreks base. They had trained for missions like this their whole careers, but this was the first time they were fighting to save an entire species. Up in space, the main battle was about to begin. Jake's ship, Terra's Pride, moved first. He used hit-and-run tactics, flying fast around the big Krek ships and firing at their weapons. Kelly, target their gun systems. I want them confused, not destroyed yet. Chief Tactical Officer Kelly Brooks smiled as she worked. Yes, sir. Making them angry but not killing them. The Kreks were completely surprised. Their ships turned slowly, trying to follow the fast human ship. They had never fought anyone who moved so quickly. Commander Rick Turner brought his battleship, New York's Fury, straight at the largest Kreks vessel. His ship was smaller, but it had the most powerful guns in the human fleet. This is Turner to all ships. I'm engaging the Kreks flagship. Let's see how tough these bullies really are. The first exchange of fire lit up the darkness of space. Rick's ship took some damage, but the Krek's flagship was hurt much worse. Pieces of its hull floated, away into space. On the planet's surface, Colonel Danny Ward's Marines were landing in assault pods. Major Tony Garcia led the main ground force, while other teams spread out to find the hiding Zephyrians. This is Garcia to all ground units. Remember, we're here to protect civilians. Use only the force you need to stop the enemy. The Krek's ground. Soldiers were shocked when the human Marines attacked. They had been expecting to hunt down scared civilians, not fight trained soldiers. Sergeant Lucy Evans and her squad moved through a burning city, looking for Zephyrians who needed help. They found a group hiding in a basement. The Zephyrians looked like tall, thin people made of crystal. Their bodies reflected light in beautiful colors, but now they looked terrified and hurt. "Don't be afraid," Lucy said gently. "We're humans. We're here to help you." One of the Zephyrians stepped forward. "You are the ones Elder Vextai spoke of. You really came to save us." "Yes, ma'am. That's exactly why we're here." Back in space, the battle was getting fiercer. The Krek's commander, Thekvar, finally realized what was happening. He sent a message to the human ships. "Unknown species, you are interfering with Krek's empire business. Identify yourselves and withdraw immediately, or we will destroy you." Jake Morrison answered personally. His words were broadcast on all frequencies, so every ship could hear them. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the human fleet. We're humans. We don't like bullies. You're hurting innocent people, and we're here to stop you." There was silence for a moment. Then Thekvar replied, his voice full of anger. "Humans? I have never heard of you. You are few, and we are many. You will regret this foolishness." "We'll see about that." Down on the planet, Steve Adams and his team had reached the Krek's communication tower. It was a tall, dark structure surrounded by guards. "Nina, can you bring it down?" Steve asked. Corporal Nina Walsh studied the tower through her binoculars. "Give me 10 minutes with that tower and it'll never send another message." Ray Cooper took position with his sniper rifle. "I'll keep the guards busy." The plan worked perfectly. Ray's precise shooting kept the Krek soldiers confused while Nina placed explosive charges at the base of the tower. When it exploded, the blast could be seen from space. "Morrison, this is Adams. Communication tower is down. The Krek ships are on their own now." Jake felt a surge of hope. "Good work, Steve. Get your team to safety." The loss of communications was devastating for the Krek's fleet. Their ships had always operated as one unit, with orders coming from the flagship. Now they were confused and unable to coordinate their attacks. Kelly Brooks noticed the change immediately. "Captain, look at this. They're not working together anymore. Each ship is making its own decisions." Jake saw the opportunity. "Rick, Danny, this is our chance. Hit them now while they're confused." The human ships pressed their attack. Rick's battleship engaged 3 Krek's cruisers at once, using superior speed and maneuverability to avoid their heavy weapons. Jake's ship darted between the enemy vessels, causing chaos and confusion. On the ground, Major Garcia's Marines were winning battle after battle against the Krek's soldiers. The aliens had expected to fight civilians, not professional warriors. "Colonel Ward, this is Garcia. The enemy is retreating toward their landing zones. They're not used to anyone fighting back." Danny Ward coordinated the ground battle from his command ship. "Keep pushing, Tony. Don't let them regroup." Elder Vextai contacted the human ships from his bunker. His voice was filled with amazement and hope. "Captain Morrison, my people are reporting that the Kreks are running away. How is this possible? They have never been defeated before." Jake was too busy fighting to answer immediately. His ship was dueling with 2 Krek's cruisers, using its speed to stay alive. Elder Vextai, bullies are always tough until someone stands up to them. We're showing them what happens when they pick on someone who fights back. The tide of battle was turning. The Kreks had expected easy conquest, but instead they found themselves fighting for their lives against an enemy they had never heard of. Pilot Officer Frank Johnson executed a perfect attack run, disabling a Krek's cruiser's engines without destroying it. The enemy ship drifted helplessly in space. "Captain?" Frank reported. That's 4 Krex ships disabled. They're starting to panic. Jake opened communications to the entire Krex fleet. His message was simple and direct. This is Captain Morrison to all Krex ships. You have one chance. Leave this system now and never come back. If you continue to hurt these people, we'll destroy every one of your ships. Some of the Krex ships began to withdraw, but others kept fighting. Their commander, Thekvar, was too proud to admit defeat. Jake sighed. All right then, let's finish this. The battle grew more intense as more Krex ships arrived from nearby systems. Commander Thekvar had called for help, and now 24 enemy vessels surrounded the 3 human ships. Captain Jake Morrison looked at the tactical display and felt his heart sink. The odds were now 8-1 against them. Captain, Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez said urgently, I'm detecting 3 more Krex fleets heading this way. They'll be here in 2 hours. Jake knew they were running out of time. But something unexpected happened that changed everything. Elder Vextai's voice came through the radio, stronger than before. Captain Morrison, my people are no longer hiding. We want to help you fight. Elder Vextai, you said your people had no weapons. We don't have guns or ships, but we know things about the Krex that you don't. We have been studying them since they first attacked us. Down in her laboratory bunker, Dr. Helen Price, the human fleet's expert on alien life, was working with a Zephyrian scientist named Meltar. The crystal-like alien was showing her something important on a captured Krex computer. Dr. Price, Meltar said in his musical voice, the Krex have a weakness that they don't know you have discovered. Helen studied the alien text on the screen. What kind of weakness? Their entire fleet operates like a single mind. Every ship follows orders from the flagship without question. If you can capture their commander alive, the whole fleet will not know what to do. Helen's eyes went wide. Are you saying they can't think for themselves? Exactly. The Krex have never developed independent thinking in their military. Each ship captain waits for orders from above. Without those orders, they become confused and helpless. Helen immediately contacted Captain Morrison. Jake, I think I know how to win this fight. I'm listening, Helen. We need to capture the Krex commander alive, not kill him. If we take him prisoner, their whole command structure will collapse. Jake thought about this. It was a crazy idea, but crazy ideas sometimes worked. That means boarding their flagship. It's suicide. Maybe not. I'm sending you the tactical data Meltar gave me. Look at their ship designs. Jake studied the information Helen sent. The Krex flagship was huge and powerful, but it had one major flaw. The command bridge was located in the most protected part of the ship, but it only had one entrance. If we could get a small team inside. Exactly, Helen said. One team, in and out fast, grab their commander and escape. Jake called his senior officers. Rick, Danny, I need volunteers for the most dangerous mission in human history. Commander Rick Turner didn't hesitate. Count me in. Me too, said Colonel Danny Ward. But Jake shook his head. No, I need you both commanding your ships. This job needs someone who specializes in exactly this kind of mission. Infiltrator Squad Leader Ben Torres had been waiting for this moment his whole career. He was 40 years old, quiet, and deadly. His team specialized in impossible missions. Captain Morrison, my squad can do it, Ben said. Give us Sergeant Lucy Evans and her demolition experts and we'll bring you that Krex commander. Ben, you understand what you're volunteering for? This is a one-way trip if anything goes wrong. Sir, with respect, someone down there is counting on us to end this fight. We'll get it done. Jake felt proud and scared at the same time. This was what made humans special. When things got impossible, they volunteered for the most dangerous job. All right, Ben. Here's the plan. The operation began with a massive diversion. Rick Turner's battleship New York's Fury attacked the center of the Krex fleet, drawing attention away from their flagship. Jake's ship, Terra's Pride, joined the attack, firing at everything in sight. Meanwhile, Danny Ward's assault ship, Dakota's Hammer, launched a small, invisible pod toward the Krex flagship. Inside were Ben Torres, Sergeant Lucy Evans, and 4 other specialists. Remember, Ben told his team as they approached the enemy ship, we go in fast, grab the commander, and get out. No heroes, no unnecessary risks. The pod attached itself to the Krek's flagship's hull. Lucy Evans used a special cutting tool to make a hole, and the team slipped inside. The interior of the Krek's ship was dark and frightening. Everything was designed to look scary, with sharp edges and threatening decorations. But Ben noticed something important. "Look around," he whispered to his team. "There are no guards here. They never expected anyone to board their ship." The team moved through empty corridors toward the command bridge. The Kreks were so confident in their superiority that they had never planned for someone to attack them directly. When they reached the bridge, Ben was surprised by what he saw. Commander Thekvar was alone except for 2 guards. The Kreks leader was 8 feet tall, covered in gray scales, with red eyes that glowed in the dark. "Now," Ben whispered. The human team moved like lightning. Lucy's stun grenade knocked out the guards instantly. Ben jumped on Thekvar before the alien commander could reach his weapon. The fight was brief but violent. Thekvar was strong, but Ben was faster and smarter. Within minutes, the Krek's commander was unconscious and tied up. "This is Torres to Morrison. Package secured. We're coming home." "Outstanding work, Ben. Get out of there." But as the human team tried to escape, alarms began ringing throughout the Krek's fleet. Someone had discovered the boarding party. "Captain," Amy Rodriguez reported, "the entire Krek's fleet is going crazy. Their communications are completely confused." Jake watched in amazement as the enemy ships began firing at each other by mistake. Without their commander giving orders, the Krek's captains didn't know what to do. "Kelly, are you seeing this?" Chief Tactical Officer Kelly Brooks was studying her instruments in disbelief. "Sir, they're completely falling apart. Half of them are trying to rescue their commander, and the other half are trying to retreat. They're shooting at their own ships." Pilot Officer Frank Johnson took advantage of the chaos. He flew his fighter through the confused Krek's formation, disabling ship after ship without them even noticing. "This is incredible," Frank reported. "It's like they forgot how to fight." Down on the planet, Major Tony Garcia was watching the Krek's ground forces surrender in large groups. The alien soldiers had received no orders for hours and didn't know what to do. "Colonel Ward, the enemy ground forces are giving up. They're actually asking us to tell them what to do." Danny Ward shook his head in amazement. "Tony, take their weapons and keep them under guard. Don't hurt anyone unless you have to." Elder Vextai contacted the human ships again. His voice was filled with joy and disbelief. "Captain Morrison, the Kreks are no longer fighting. Some of their ships are trying to leave, but they're moving in circles. What did you do to them?" "We took away their leader, Elder Vextai. It turns out they can't think for themselves." Ben Torres and his team made it back to their escape pod with Commander Thekvar still unconscious. As they flew back toward the human ships, Ben looked at his prisoner and felt sorry for him. "You know what's sad?" Ben told Lucy Evans. "This guy probably never learned how to make his own decisions. His whole life, someone else told him what to do." "That's what happens when you follow bullies," Lucy replied. "You forget how to think for yourself." Jake Morrison broadcast a message to the entire Krek's fleet. "This is Captain Morrison. We have your commander. He's safe, but he's our prisoner now. Any ship that wants to leave this system can go now. Any ship that stays will be destroyed." 18 Krek's ships immediately turned and fled toward deep space. The remaining 6 ships shut down their weapons and waited for orders. Jake felt a mix of relief and sadness. The battle was over. But so many people had died before the humans arrived. "Elder Vextai, this is Captain Morrison. New Haven is free." 3 days after the battle, New Haven was starting to heal. The Zephyrians came out of their hiding places and began rebuilding their cities. But the effects of the human victory were spreading far beyond one small planet. In the Krek's High Command Center, thousands of light years away, Admiral Vexkol received the most disturbing report in the Empire's history. His assistant, a nervous young officer, delivered the message with shaking hands. "Sir, we have lost all contact with the New Haven invasion fleet. The last message we received said they encountered an unknown species called humans." Admiral Vexkol was silent for a long moment. In 300 years of conquest, the Kreks had never lost an entire fleet. "What do we know about these humans?" Very little, sir. They appeared suddenly, defeated our forces in less than 6 hours, and then captured Commander Thekvar alive. Our surviving ships report that the humans fought with incredible courage and tactical skill. Vex Cole stood up and walked to a large map of the galaxy. Red markers showed every world conquered by the Krex Empire. There were thousands of them. Send orders to all fleet commanders. Until we know more about these humans, all expansion operations are suspended. I want every ship to return to defensive positions. Sir, that means abandoning 17 different invasions that are currently in progress. Do it. If these humans can destroy a full Krex battle fleet, they are more dangerous than anything we have ever faced. The order went out immediately. Across the galaxy, Krex warships began withdrawing from worlds they had been attacking. Species that had been fighting for their lives suddenly found themselves free. On New Haven, Captain Jake Morrison was meeting with Elder Vextai in the newly repaired council chambers. The Zephyrian leader looked much healthier now that his people were safe. Captain Morrison, the Zephyrian collective has made a decision. We formally request that our world be placed under human protection. Jake was surprised. Elder Vextai, we didn't come here to start an empire, we just wanted to help. Exactly why we trust you. Anyone who travels across the galaxy to help strangers, asking nothing in return, is someone we want as friends. Dr. Helen Price was working with her new partner, the Zephyrian scientist Meltar, in a research facility they had built together. The combination of human technology and Zephyrian crystal science was producing amazing results. Helen, Meltar, said, "We have developed something that could change everything. Look at this defensive shield system." Helen studied the device. It was small enough to fit in her hand, but according to Meltar's calculations, it could protect an entire city. How is that possible? Your human engineering combined with our crystal energy focusing. We can build these devices quickly and cheaply. Any species under attack could use them to defend themselves. Helen smiled. This was better than any weapon. Instead of just fighting bullies, they could help victims protect themselves. Meanwhile, Ambassador Carl Davis was having the busiest week of his career at the Galactic Council headquarters. His office was full of representatives from dozens of different species, all asking the same thing. "Ambassador Davis," said the representative from the Altair Republic, "our worlds are under attack by the Vegan Empire. Can humans help us like they helped the Zephyrians?" "And what about us?" asked the delegate from the Centauri Alliance. "The Draconian Horde has invaded 3 of our colonies." Carl looked around his crowded office. Every species there was small, peaceful, and being attacked by someone bigger and stronger. "Ladies and gentlemen, I need to contact Earth immediately. This is bigger than any of us expected." On Earth, President Maria Santos was meeting with the entire Human Defense Council. The reports from New Haven had changed everything about humanity's role in the galaxy. "General Parker," President Santos said, "how many requests for help have we received in the last 3 days?" General Lisa Parker looked at her tablet. 47, Madam President, and more coming in every hour. Can we help all of them?" "Not with our current fleet size, but Admiral Johnson has a proposal." Admiral Pete Johnson stood up and activated a holographic display. "Madam President, I suggest we create the Human Protection Alliance. Any peaceful species that requests our help becomes a partner, not a subject. They provide resources and intelligence. We provide military protection. What about species that want to help us fight?" "Even better. The Zephyrians have already volunteered to build shield generators for other species. If we can teach victims to protect themselves, we won't have to fight every battle alone." President Santos made the decision that would define humanity's future. Do it. But remember, we're protectors, not conquerors. Anyone who doesn't want our help can say no at any time. Back on New Haven, Jake Morrison received new orders that surprised him. He was being promoted to admiral and given command of the new protection fleet. "Congratulations, Jake," Admiral Johnson said through the quantum communicator. "You've just become humanity's first galactic protector." "Sir, I'm not sure I'm qualified for this job." "Jake, 3 days ago, you heard someone cry for help and immediately decided to risk your life to save them. That makes you the most qualified person in the galaxy. Commander Rick Turner and Colonel Danny Ward were also receiving promotions and new ships. The three friends would lead humanity's expansion across the galaxy, but this time they would be spreading protection instead of conquest. Elder Vextai found Jake standing on the observation deck of Terra's Pride, looking out at the stars. "Captain Morrison, excuse me, Admiral Morrison, what are you thinking about?" Jake smiled. "I'm thinking about how this all started with one distress signal. Now look where we are." "The galaxy is already changing," Vextai said. "My people are receiving messages from species all over known space. They have heard what humans did here, and they are asking for help." "Are we ready for this, Elder Vextai?" 3 days ago, most of the galaxy had never heard of humans. "Admiral, in my people's history, there is an old saying, when the darkness is deepest, the smallest light shines brightest. Humans are that light." Jake looked out at the stars and thought about all the people out there who needed help. Some were probably sending distress signals right now, hoping someone would hear them. "Amy," Jake called to his communications officer, "scan all frequencies for distress signals." "Yes, sir." "Admiral, I'm already picking up 17 different emergency calls." Jake smiled. This was what humans were meant to do. Set course for the nearest one. It's time to get back to work. As the Terra's Pride and her sister ships turned toward distant stars, monitoring stations across the galaxy detected something unprecedented. The Krex Empire, which had been expanding for centuries, had suddenly stopped all military operations. Word spread quickly through space. There was a new power in the galaxy. They called themselves humans. They traveled in small groups, and they had one simple rule. When someone called for help, they came running. The bullies of the universe were about to learn that their time was over. Humanity had arrived, and they brought something the galaxy had almost forgotten: hope. In the depths of space, new distress signals were already being sent toward human space. Somewhere out there, people were in trouble and calling for help, and, as always, when humans heard that cry, they would answer, "We're on our way."